You can go ahead.
Alrighty. Good evening, folks. See, we are streaming this evening. We'll just get things going. Welcome to March. Halfway, no, we're not quite halfway through it there. Almost springtime. It is March 9th. Lovely. I would like to call this meeting to order. Right off the get-go, everyone's seen this evening's agenda. If we can get a motion to approve this evening's agenda. Motion by Tracy, second by Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Aye. Next, declarations of interest. Any? We will go with none. 4, delegations, presentations. I don't believe we have any that I know of. We shall move on. Number 5, minutes from the previous meeting. Again, Karen sent those out. Everyone had a chance to look at them, I hope. If we could get a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes. Motion by Pearl, second by Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Sorry, that's funny. The eye thing every time.
Sorry. You won't see my hand going yes.
Too bad they couldn't invent like a little emoji that you can put in there. All right, 6 agenda items. We will move right along. 6.1, the planter flower boxes that we've had discussed. Did everybody get the email from Matthew earlier?
Yes.
In regards to the designs? Oh, so you've all seen it? Okay. So if you want to speak on those.
Certainly. So I'm just going to share my screen because I'm not sure everyone had a chance to see it, but you'll get a feel for what we were thinking. And one of the major things that we want to accomplish with this is whatever we build it out of, it needs to be low maintenance. So what we're suggesting and recommending is that it be done with a composite material. And so you see the 2 examples here. One, the first example on the left-hand side, and hopefully everyone can see it, is that the box would only go as far as the built-in planter that's already there that acts also as a leg. The second example, which is on the right-hand side, goes the whole length and would cover that incorporated planter. So really the question, well, there's 2 questions. One, does either of these tickle your fancy? And then if one does, perfect, in which case just let us know. And then the second thing that we can, because we're building this out of a composite, then we can actually pick from the colors that are here, and it doesn't have to be kind of that straight wood look, but you could have anything from dark to a grayish. There's a little bit more kind of green gray with gravel path, and perhaps a complementary color to what we chose with the benches. So it first probably feedback on the 2 possible designs, and then we can go from there.
Is the original seat staying on them, Matthew, or are you just building right on top of it?
So we would like to remove that because it, one more area where we'd have to stain. We're just trying to ensure that the metal piece underneath would be sturdy enough to work with the composite, because composite doesn't have the same strength as wood. So we just need to make sure that that's there. But our intention is that we would remove that if at all possible.
Matthew, is there any way you see the right? Can you see my cursor or no? No,
no, unfortunately not.
I think so. Okay, well, where the original planter box was, can that come off and a leg that matches the other side go on?
Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it's welded into that whole bottom piece.
Is it?
So that's why we're stuck with it, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, because see, the first picture kind of, to me, looks off center and looks unfinished. But then the second picture, I'm not fussy on the two ends looking different, but I mean, this is what we have to work with, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we tried to see if we could dismantle, but
Yeah,
unfortunately that metal piece runs all the way along and it's welded to both ends.
right, to the other piece, yeah, okay. I was, yeah, wondering that. Shoot.
Yeah, my anxiety and OCD, the first one is just killing me.
Yeah, we can't do the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too off kilter.
yeah, it really looks off. Yeah.
Okay. So we're agreed that some form of the second one, and if we can, we might be able to clad that leg on the right-hand side. And so in the exact same wood, so we can try and do that. So it just kind of makes a nice little bit of a thing there.
Yeah, that might finish
Yeah.
that off. The other suggestion might be too, to try and get the wood the same color so that it all balances.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
so when you take a look at the colors, we might be able to go with like a Winchester gray that I have highlighted. That might get us towards that kind of that dark color that you see there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if I'm to take feedback back to our group, is that you like the second option, and that if we can get as close to a color as the base as possible, that you'd be happy with that?
Yeah, and if they could possibly build that extra leg, that would be perfect.
Okay.
Can I complicate things and throw another suggestion out there?
Of course.
What if, and I know it would, we've got very limited room, but what about the idea of connecting two together so that they would be perfectly balanced on either side, and either just connecting them and having a longer planter. You would have 4 much longer planters that could be put at some key focal points. Or is it possible to even put like a little bench in between them to create another little seating area? And then that would make them more purposeful, I think, in my mind.
I think the problem with the seating area, though, Dana, is you're going to end up seeing people use them as an ashtray. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what they're being used for now.
That's because there's no flowers in them.
Yeah.
they do it even when there's flowers in them.
I like the way I believe Dana is thinking, because the second one, although it's better than the first one, kind of looks like there's a box on top of a bench.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the black corners and the wood not matching probably doesn't help. But when Dana was speaking of like at least putting two together might.
At least they'd be symmetrical then, right? They would be balanced.
Yeah, the legs would
even
offset
without
each other.
even without the bench.
Now, in order to, you'd have to turn one around, right?
Correct.
So is that cement piece underneath single-sided?
We would have to check. I can't remember if it's single-sided or not.
Because you'd have to be able to get it out, right? And then.
And if not, can it be, reoriented, switched around?
That's not a bad idea, though.
Just a thought, like it's the OCD in me too. It just, both of them look unbalanced to me.
Okay, we can work with that in terms of placement and seeing where we can put it. Not a problem.
I think either way, we agree on the second one. It's just a matter of how we do it. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things. We'll check the backside, see what it looks like, and then we can figure out where we go from there.
Okay.
And then
Very good.
maybe as a last, if we couldn't do that, maybe explore Matthew's idea of maybe adding a bit of black cladding there just to create some more balance. You could probably easily get some, black aluminum sheeting to modify that a little bit to make them look a bit more balanced.
Yeah, because we certainly don't want to throw good money at bad type of thing. We don't want it to look like, hi, it was a bench, and then we didn't like it as a bench, so we like, you know what I mean? We don't want to.
Okay, very good. We'll continue working on our way, and we'll report back at our next meeting.
Quick question on that, Matthew. Is there what is? I know you're using composite for that. I know that stuff ain't cheap.
Yep.
So what kind of cost are you guys looking at?
We're probably looking somewhere in the neighborhood of about $75 to $100 per bench. So it and then that's something that will adorn for the town, and just move forward with it. Not a problem.
All right, great. It was actually cheaper than I was expecting. All right, cool. So you don't require any motion from us, I guess, right now, eh?
No, I think we're just looking to get feedback, and I think I've got that, and then we'll continue working on our way.
All righty, sounds good to me.
Excellent.
Everybody else good with that? I think so far.
Yeah.
All right, let us move along, shall we? 6.2, prioritize the planning items. I think, well, I sent it out to everybody. Everybody didn't join in, but we kind of picked out the topics that we highlighted from our little planning session. I sent out the poll asking for what you think, 4 or 5 priorities. I don't know if anybody has it on their screen at all right now, but I just wrote it down, which 4 were picked. Just let everybody know. The first one, these aren't in any order, by the way. First one was the promotions, work on promotions for downtown. I was next, flowers, oddly enough. Then the streetscape, and then either associate membership or expanding the BIA, whichever way we want to go with that.
Kevin, can I ask a question?
Yes.
I did look at this. And I think I didn't participate for a couple of reasons, just because of my position as being just a council rep, but also I wasn't sure if I truly shared the definition of what streetscaping is. Like if we're all thinking the same thing.
Fair question. My interpretation of it is what town is working on, but it's something we want to be able to pay attention to, as far as I know. Unless Matthew has a different terminology than what I'm thinking, or what the rest of us are all thinking.
So how I kind of explain streetscaping is the furniture, the flowers, the trees, planters, whatever it might be. So everything beyond the front of a building that would be owned by the town. That's kind of how I view streetscaping. It includes kind of the light standards, the traffic poles, all of that type of thing. Is there a differing of an understanding, or how did other people feel about that?
Yeah, that's how I look at it as well. It's everything, basically essentially the beautification, right, of the downtown.
So as a follow-up, Kevin, so Matthew, would it, like the lights, for instance, I personally like the white little lights on the trees. I know Mayor Todd doesn't. Would that be part of streetscaping then?
I believe so. I think it's not only the trees when they're in bloom, but at night and that sort of thing. So basically, if we own it, then and we're responsible for it, then probably it would be part of that streetscaping.
Perfect. And so I'm not sure if this is an appropriate spot or not, but like the lighthouse, Matthew knows that I'm a true advocate for the promotion of the lighthouse around the council table, but it doesn't get me too far. And I understand why. I do understand why, but at the same time, I'm not giving up. At one time, it had the white lights on it, and I don't believe that's the case anymore. Correct?
That's correct. I believe at one point we were told to take them down, but I think we need to take a look at how we can do it. So there's a lot more you can do now with LED lighting and being able to kind of push that light onto walls as opposed to using kind of that the stringing lights. So what we want to do is really take a look at that and be able to say, how can we light the lighthouse in a tasteful way? And similar to what we did with the clock tower this right around Christmas, but be able to do that more intense along the sides of the lighthouse.
What about the actual light inside, like at the top? Like
So
lighting it up like a lighthouse?
we're allowed to light it as long as it doesn't appear like a navigational aid. So we'd have to turn it way down, and we're exploring exactly how we can go about doing that. And then look at, you know, perhaps not a normal color that you would see, but maybe a nice light blue or that sort of thing. While at the same time, we also have to be cognizant of not shining it into everyone's windows. So, but we did have the conversation with the Coast Guard. They didn't foresee any issues with it as long as it doesn't look like a navigational aid. And so we're exploring exactly what that could look like. We also know that there are projectors that you can actually use that will shine from inside of a window, and then it will show on the outside. And so we're taking a look to see if we could, you know, put projectors up there, and then it could kind of be seasonal, where you'd have things at Halloween, things at Christmas, you know, that sort of thing. And so it again, kind of removing it from the navigational aid, but being able to provide it as a little bit of a tourist and attraction, as well as just something nice to see.
So
I think that's something that could really, really help bring the two streets together. You know, the waterfront to the main street. I love the idea.
So basically the same lighting, Matthew, that you've done with the tower.
Yeah, very similar. I think we would, the lighthouse is an interesting building because it's going to lean back. So we'll have to adjust the light, and so it doesn't come up straight, so when you're pushing it up, you'll have to kind of push the light back as well. So we need to work through that, but definitely I think there's some things that we can do and make it, you know, invisible during the day if you're lighting it from the bottom, but make it really look nice at night with that kind of flooding of lights up each side of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
We'd also really like to look at putting like a live camera feed up there as well as part of the lighting, so that we could actually provide a nice view of all the shipping traffic going by, as well as just the, you know, the general boating that happens on the river, with of course respecting the boater privacy. Have to have the right camera angle, but
I'm sure there's things that you don't want to see.
yeah.
You stole my idea. I wanted to put one on the shop. No, okay. So maybe like if we're going to use the term streetscaping, we should probably kind of mix it with the word beautification.
Well, I think there's a big difference between, you know, streetscaping is more kind of like your permanent fixtures, your benches, your permanent planters, whereas like your beautification, really, that to me is kind of what captures the extras, right? The flowers, the banners, the lighting, those things that you want to add to the various amenities that are there, you know, that the town has installed. I would suggest, you know, the BIA should focus more on those elements, the beautification, the soft touch kind of items, and, you know, while still providing input into town infrastructure and furnishings. But, you know, that's something that you guys can have a lot more control and influence over, just given the size of your budget, right?
Yeah. No, I think we're just looking for clarification, just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. If there's a difference of what the town would call streetscaping versus us. So I think just make sure we're clear on everything. Yeah. So anyways, did that help, Teresa?
Yes, thank you.
So anyways, those are the 4 topics. We don't really need to deal with them tonight. However, we know what they are, and we can well, some of it we're already working on, but I think next meeting, I can't remember in our planning meeting, I said there was something we were going to put in April's meeting, and I actually don't remember what it was, but we'll figure that out later. But we can work on these probably next meeting. So, with that being said, is there anything else on that topic before I move on?
I would just also add the farmer's market came up pretty high on the list.
Right behind it, yeah.
Just looking at that poll, but I think the update that Matthew has later may help with that priority.
Yeah, no problem. Lovely. All right. We shall move on. Next, we're going to move in camera for just a little bit. Have a quick little discussion of, oh, there's a phone number there. Look at that. That must be Belinda. That being said, please.
Is that Belinda?
Yep.
Just to
Hey.
confirm? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I can't get the tech on my computer, but I called in.
Oh,
Finally, it worked.
Alrighty. Anyway, we're going to move into an in-camera session. If we can get a motion to go in camera.
I'll make a motion that we move to an in-camera session.
Alrighty, and I think that was seconded by Pearl. So all in favor?
Aye.